This is our late night show. I hope you guys are doing great because I am doing absolutely amazing. So you've seen the headline, guys. So President Mnangagwa faces impeachment. This is quite interesting days ahead, honestly. Very much interesting. And do you also know that Wicknell has been barred from entering America? Wow. Interesting days ahead. I don't know why people like to show off because I'm not one of those people. I don't like it. And also had the young parliament today. Do you actually know that, we were as well together with Mnangagwa are ready to make sure that they confront the regime, soon. So more details are to come. Before we proceed, guys, I'm going to ask you to make sure that at least you subscribe if it's your first time to come across the channel. But if my regulars, I'm going to say, shout out, I'm seeing Miriam, bro, Mike, Memory, Fortune, good to see you. I see some people that I missed there. I want to apologize, but I'm sending you love and light and say thank you guys for coming through Petrolilla. Good to see y'all. Drop your location. Very important for us to prepare for the future in the Zimbabwe that is coming. It's very close, y'all. You'll be shocked. Very close. It is very close. And do not forget, like the live, guys, push algorithm, invite everyone. Mr. Mani, Akanaka, Maswena say, Linjani. All right, guys, quite a very interesting day tonight. Yeah. Interesting. There've been quite a number of things happened during the week, but yeah, I can see that it's building up and building up daily. You cannot believe the amount of corruption that's going on in this country. Today, we received another bombshell once again, reported by the NewsHawks. You can't miss that one. You're gonna stick around as we go through this what we have tonight for you. And by the way, comment respectfully, guys. I want to appreciate it because you've been very respectful, actually, very respectful. It means a lot. I want to thank you so much, guys. Okay, so breaking the 78, the ones that were arrested for Triple C and in Timber, they have been granted bail. So first and foremost, why were they even arrested from the first place? That's what we need to ask. They were not supposed to be in prison, were they? They were not even supposed to be in prison. So for me, there's nothing to celebrate here, but all I'm saying is at least they're with their families right now. Like the live, push algorithm, my people almost 100 joining us in a minute. And I'm asking you guys, like the live, because I need 100 for YouTube to push algorithm and so that we can move forward. Okay. For those that didn't know, actually, that today was the young parliament, and these young kids were looking absolutely stunning. And the one that was the president, very serious. I'm like, please don't try it, don't. But they were looking stunning. The young parliament today, absolutely amazing. Again, Transform Zimbabwe and National Democratic Working Group, right, for joint press conference. So we'll be sitting to listen to Jacob Ngarivume and Job Scala this coming Friday, the 5th of July 2024 at exactly 11 a.m. Guys, let me just tell you one thing. I am after freedom, right? I realize that Zimbabwe is so broken to a point where what we need currently is the wisdom, then we can talk about elections. So anyone that stand up and said, hey guys, I've got something to say, I'm there to listen. What are they saying? How can we support? Let's come together and really join hands. Let's do like what they did in Kenya. When they went to the streets, they did not care which political party you belonged to. All they wanted was a better society. They wanted a normal nation. And you know what? They're not perfect, but at least they're trying. So you and I, we should come together to make sure we demand a normal society. All right. I've been telling the police Zimbabwe, right? I've been very clear to them and say, brothers, stop blocking us so that at least we can free this country. You also need to get decent salaries, don't you? Because my heart is breaking right now for police Zimbabwe. There are 5 guys, they're both police officers, were arrested for $1 each. Allegations are they were actually set up by their leaders, and other fellow police officers, and then they were given $5 out of those 5 guys, which means $1 each. They are in prison as we speak, jailed for $1. Brothers, please stop fighting your people. We are all fighting for one thing: a decent society. So if you really want to get good salaries, then you better stop beating out citizens when they're out there to protest. Give them the platform to demand a normal society. Stop blocking citizens when they're protesting. And I'm speaking to police Zimbabwe. Guys, Mapurisa, Mapurisa and Masoja, you seems to become a problem, right? As we're going to be listening to the commander, Sanyatwe. What a disappointment. I'm extremely disappointed personally, not speaking on behalf of anybody. Because the kind of soldiers we used to have in the 80s, right? Amazing soldiers. And I was born in the 80s, which means in the 90s, I was, around grade 1. I started grade 1 when I was around 5, 6 years old. I was too intelligent, so they could not keep me. They could not keep me in the crèche. They said, no, let her go. I was still very much intelligent. So I remember that when I was in school, and it's the kids that their fathers were in the military. I mean, we all wanted to be part of the military. I wanted to be a police officer, So I loved it to be, because in my family, we've got quite a number of armies, guys and really top-notch, top-class police officers. So I wanted to be a police officer. Those were the jobs that were there, being a nurse, a doctor, a teacher. Those were like the real jobs that people would talk about. So I wanted to be a police officer. Just imagine what kind of a police officer I would be today. So the police and also the army actually disappointing me. As much as my heart is broken for the police officer, I'm also worried very much so about the military. For so long, people have been saying Zimbabwe is being run by the military junta. You have heard it many times. But yesterday, for me, I was just hearing things, without no confirmation. But yesterday, I was flabbergasted when I let the retired, but again was reinstated. His name is the commander Sanyatwe, speaking via, I say so. I wish this message can get through to him, for me as his daughter, because he's mature enough to be my father. So as his daughter, talking to him and said, we can't expect you, forget about you being an army general, an army commander. Let's talk about you being a human. What you said yesterday, no. We don't expect it from a normal person, unfortunately. And I'm saying this and I mean it. We do not expect it. This man was threatening citizens. I'm saying the army commander threatened the citizens. He's now all of a sudden becoming a ZANU PF. I don't know what he represents, maybe a commissar, at the same time becoming an army general, because when the way he was speaking, was talking like someone who's actually a politician. That's where we are now. So before we listen to him, I want you to listen to the army in 1980. This was in the 80s, the armies that we used to have. You hear them speaking in their language that, Masambasiana, there's a difference. Things are no longer the same. The army that we have in 2024 in Zimbabwe, cheese. And it's unfortunate that we have to say the army like we are calling almost everyone, but unfortunately, it's not everybody. It's definitely not everybody. It's just a few people. The rest of the guys are also struggling as we do, and they don't do what these guys are doing. But we will listen to the army in the 80s. Listen to them speaking and how much they respected citizens before they get contaminated by the corruption in ZANU-PF. So we'll listen to the army in the 80s. Very professional army generals. Take a listen, please.
We wish to make it very clear to all of Zimbabwean citizens that the security organization will only stand in support of those political leaders that will pursue Zimbabwe's value, traditions, beliefs, for which thousands of lives were lost in pursuit of Zimbabwe's hard-won independence, sovereignty, territorial integrity, and the national interest. To this end, let it be known that the highest office on the land is a straitjacket, whose occupant is expected to observe the objective of the liberation struggle. We will therefore not accept, let alone support or salute anyone with a different agenda that threatens the very existence of our sovereignty, our country, and our people.
The interesting part is when they were speaking, apparently the VP at that time was General Chivhayo, was actually also part of those army generals. And that made me now respect, what Tambara said. He said in, that Chivhayo, the VP, and Mnangagwa, the president, have been plotting over the years to actually take over these spaces. No wonder why we have chaos. They were plotting. I do recall that he said he was needed to go and meet up with Robert Mugabe. And as he got there, they did not want him to get in because they were overzealous and jealousy. They didn't want anyone who seemed to be smarter than them to be closer to the president. It makes sense. I mean, you listen to them speaking, very professional, really owing allegiance to the badge and the flag. the Zimbabwean people. But in 2024, it's a different song. The army that we have in place today, no, guys, they're the ones in 2018 who went to the streets. But people's allegations are, and I remember that was Susan Mutapa who dropped it, that these armies that you saw that killed people, these allegations actually came from the presidential guard. And I said to them, they came from the presidential guard. Who summoned them? Because it was someone's children who summoned them to get to the streets and kill people. I'm just telling you, Kuti, things have changed. It's no longer the Zimbabwe that we used to know, the kind of army that we used to celebrate, respect. Not the one that was very serious, that you will see them in their camouflage when they get there with that sandana. No, the sandana was the police. But when they get with those dark cars with very scary, I used to be so scared to see those cars when I was young. This kind of army guys. Yes, things have changed. Because now the army commander, I'm saying about the army commander, Sanyatwe, is on record threatening citizens. Threatening, hear me out, citizens. And I said to myself, it's all because of this upcoming Saturday where people are saying there are protests. In fact, I saw something that was taken to again today that protests are coming. So I guess that's the reason why they are so unstable. So those who know that they're kind of benefiting, they're like, we don't want to be in trouble. Guess if things fall apart here, we are in a deeper problem. You do remember what that man that we had online here, you said that most of them have been committing a lot of crimes over the years, and they know that the moment ZANU-PF go down, they're going down with ZANU-PF. So they are not even prepared to let go. But here's the thing, talk is cheap. Zimbabweans are also not prepared to live this life any longer. Zimbabweans want freedom, a country that is normal, a country that respects its own people, that believe in purpose, that exalt the destinies of the young people. That's the life that Zimbabweans want. They are not interested anymore with who wants what and who wants what. This country has to function. Unfortunately, it has to function. So we're going to be listening to the army commander speaking. I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed. I do not expect him to say that. Take a listen, please.
Business center pa ekubira pamira rwisi rusati rwaondomoka izvoka tichidzoka pane pfuti ngauya futi pamuja chii chakaitika takatambirwa nemhondoro yanyamaropa pamuturu. Wakapereka ambassador. Mutuyu wakapereka lieutenant general. Mutuyu wakapereka commander army. ZANU-PF ikatonga kusika matongo yameranya. Musingadi aleni baba ndakutaura sakomanda army shashandisa inonzi command 40.
So you heard him saying that ZANU-PF ichatonga kusvikira madhongi amera nyanga. This is an army commander, right? Yes, Sanyatwe. ZANU-PF ichatonga kusvikira madhongi amera nyanga. And I'm sitting on the other side, I'm asking myself, what does this supposed to mean to Zimbabweans? An army general, saying that. But you mustn't forget, words are, talk is cheap and words are powerful. I've told you yesterday. They know that the moment they say that Zimbabweans are going to shiver, no, in 2024 we are not going to shiver. This time it's freedom or nothing. It's not negotiable. It's not something we're not discussing that. This country has to function for the young people. It has to save everyone. It can't be only for the few. We have their personal interests. No, it doesn't work like that. So we are not even blinking at all. Head on. Let's go. Let's see who's going to win. Guys, don't fold. We have a destiny here to deal with. Do not fold. Remain resolute. So that at least we get to the new Zimbabwe that we want. We can never be threatened any longer. No, we've been threatened for decades. We have to stand firm and say no, and it is a no. They did it in Kenya. Okay, I know that we can't compare Zimbabwe and Kenya because in Zimbabwe they don't get beaten by police. But honestly, we need to start demanding a normal Zimbabwe. Right. There was a tweet that was sent out and someone need to share with me, right? Because the person was trying to educate me about the deep state, which I'm not going to get much into. I want to focus on this tweet that was sent out by Susan Mutami. You remember Susan Mutami? The one that would allege that hey, she was actually, something happened between her and the president. Not only her, she literally she was kind of grazed by a lot of ministers. That's why they're busy abusing us. These people don't care because they live dirty lives. Do they care? They really do not. So I'm going to read what she sent out. Susan Mutami said, I'm happy that the Zimbabwe National Army is now out of the closet. And they've said what I have been telling you all along, that no one will be the president of Zimbabwe without their approval, and only a ZANU-PF official leader would take over. In this case, Honorable Tagwirei, in Western countries, the security services decide who rules their countries and who doesn't, as much as the people vote. Every country has got interests to protect, and the military will never give power to people that flip-flop and fail a basic security check. Most of you might not know this, but there is no opposition politics in Zimbabwe. Everyone is compromised, from Nelson Chamisa himself. Some of us know things that you all don't. What hurts the most is that people died for change and were made to believe that change was coming. It's high time everyone comes out clean, especially those purporting to be opposition leaders. And take Mafume, it's a matter of time before ZANU-PF takes over municipality councils. It has always been in the pipeline, and the military has always failed. You guys have failed to manage the councils for years. This is Susan Mutami writing that tweet. And when I saw, you know what you call holy anger? You know what you call holy anger? I saw that tweet and I was like, wow, that's interesting to hear. So what you're trying to tell me that not only the people that are in ZANU-PF will be able to lead Zimbabwe, is that what you're saying? Oh, really? Who said so? So you tell me that they will not protect their interests. What interests are you referring to? So you think by grazing an entire cabinet will make you know Zimbabwe better than every Zimbabwean? They don't make sense because you have slept with different ministers there. What a disgusting people in a generation that does not have no shame. When they sleep with someone, they think they've arrived. But yesterday too, about last weekend, she was crying, fighting Temba Mliso for maintenance online. Holding a space, you crying for money to take care of your child. And you have the nerve to write this kind of tweet to the Zimbabwean people. What a fool. When they talk of foolish people, that's exactly how you look like, with all respect. So there won't be no leader in Zimbabwe except the people that are in ZANU-PF. So does that mean that everyone who believes otherwise is not a Zimbabwean? Stop gaslighting and stop abusing Zimbabweans in the name of your political party. And people should lead Zimbabwe, should be a person, a Zimbabwean, who can be leading people somewhere else. Don't come here and try to... Guys, how many people have been hearing that Chamisa either was given houses? I've heard that. He was given a house, he was given cars. Chamisa was given money, $5 million US. And the question I've been asking, and I've still today, I repeat the same question. We can see now the amount of money that is leaving the country. Why you can't bring evidence that Chamisa was given money by the state to hold us at ransom? If that is your propaganda, stupid. Because in 2024, we want evidence. We don't believe in all the gossip. We don't have time for that. If you're saying Chamisa was given money, bring the evidence. Online, we are seeing all the evidence of the monies that are leaving, right? So why then do you want us to believe that he was given money? Bring evidence. It's as simple as that. I don't know if there's any house where you can count $5 million to give a politician to keep people at ransom. And oh, you know what, guys? I'm tired of toxic politics. I'm not interested. I want the right way to live. It's truth or nothing. When you talk about something and accuse any politician of any crime, bring evidence. But it's unfair to come and tell us so-and-so was given money, so-and-so was whatever happens, but you still don't have evidence. It's stupid to me. It is stupid. And I'm saying that with all respect, right? And all I'm I'm going to say is stop gaslighting and abuse Zimbabweans in the name of political part of ZANU-PF. We must be afraid because it's ZANU-PF. We must live in fear because of ZANU-PF. You're sick in your head. Your ZANU-PF ruined the entire country. Now you're telling me we must now vote because there's a ZANU-PF party. That time is gone. We're not interested anymore. We want a functioning society. It's as simple as that. That is it's non-negotiable. All right. So now I saw the Daily News send a message and send actually in their paper, the front page of Daily News this morning was the army has a right to go into politics. That's what the Daily News said. You also know that Daily News is a propaganda for a machinery for the regime. So this actually tells you that based on what he said, the commander, the army general commander, it shows that elections don't work in a Zimbabwean context until we have reforms in place. This election should never be I'm saying like be held by ZEC do not have the capacity to run an election. So what I'm saying is that if there can only be elections if we do have reforms in place. If they think they can come back and do what they did last year, they're on their own. I'm not going to do no election. I'll be here to say to people, do not vote for them. Do not go. They must go there on their own and do their dead things. They've ruined the country. They must go down with that country. We will not vote until we have reforms in place. Until there is a settlement on place. We don't want to hear about elections. But what does the Constitution of Zimbabwe says about the army and the police? Because I'm going to read. Section 208 of Zimbabwe's Constitution says, the conduct of members of security forces. Number one, the members of the security forces must act in accordance with this Constitution and the law. Number two, neither security forces or any of their members may, in the exercise of their functions, act in a partisan manner. So they're not allowed to actually support any political party. Like what they're doing now, ZANU-PF, you heard him, he's on record. It's not gossip. It's there on record. B, further the interests of any political party or cause. They should never. They must be focusing on the Zimbabweans. And then it prejudices the lawful interests of any political party or cause, or violate the fundamental rights or freedoms of any person. Members of the security forces must not be active members or office bearers of any political party or organization. Number four, serving members of the security force must not be employed or engaged in any civilian institutions except in periods of public emergency. So there are laws that govern the army and the police. But the ones that we're seeing today, and there have been allegations that no, most of them are not even the army, or most of them are not even the police. It's people that are being assigned by ZANU-PF to masquerade as police, or masquerade as the army, or masquerade as prison officers. Truth has to be spoken in Zimbabwean context for the country to move forward. We can't sit here and be believing in lies. We cannot do anything. We must stand firm and speak truth to power in order for this country to be free. We have seen that there's a lot of mess. One thing that I refuse to believe is that the country can only be led by someone who is in ZANU-PF. I refuse to believe that. Because you know what? That is actually nonsense. It's absolutely nonsense. And I will stand on top of the roof and say the same thing. A person who needs to lead the country of Zimbabwe should have the qualities that people want to be the leader, take them where they want to be. But embossing people that you have been doing over the years is not working. 2017, we thought something was going to be different. Nobody cares. Nobody's interested. We want a functioning country. Now, Jealousy Maware is on record, making it very clear that the problem in this country is the army. And I think he has proved, Army Commander Sanyatu, that they're the problem. Again, I must also be very clear that it's not all the army that are a problem. It's a few guys who are benefiting from our suffering. Because there's a lot of corruption going on in the country, and they are play part of all these corrupt activities. And then they are protecting their mess at the expense of the entire nation. Let's hear Jealous out. What is going on in the country? What can we do in order for us to move forward? Jealous spoke about it and people did not really hear him, but now it makes a lot of sense. Take a listen, please.
Dialogue process. That includes the citizenry, that includes the civil society, and that includes the army, because the problem in this country is the army. The army is the one that moved in and took over ZANU-PF. Mangwana does not belong to ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF belongs to the army because the army moved in on the 15th of November, and we are favored by the reasons why they moved in. They wrote, the so-called command element of the army moved in, and they have signed the minutes. They said, we are moving in because we have realized that ZANU-PF is going to lose the election, so we are going to take over ZANU-PF from Mugabe and those that support him. So the army imposed someone who had been chased away from ZANU-PF, imposed him as the president, and that person then called an illegitimate election. So the problem that we have is a constitutional crisis that needs every one of us. I expect General Valerio Sivanda to be among us here. I expect General Chiwenga in his full military gear. Don't be fooled by hearing that he's the VP. No, he's a soldier. We expect Sibusiso Moyo to be here in his full military gear. And we begin actually to get to hear their concerns. Why they moved in to take over ZANU-PF, why they moved in to take over the state, why they moved in to take over government. And until we do that, we are never going to have sustainable peace in this country. The hallmark of foolishness is doing one thing over and over again and expecting a different result. We did that in 2008, ignored the army and had political parties negotiate something that was not sustainable. 7 or less than 10 years down the line, the same army moved in and took over power. So we need the army, we need to dialogue with the army. Zimbabwe is actually another.
So it was like Zimbabwe is actually another Sudan. And we've seen what has been happening in Sudan. What is really sad about this is that, in 2024, the behavior that's going down in Zimbabwe, it's sad. It's so sad. It is sad. It's the greedy, they eat, but they never have enough. They want to keep eating and keep eating. You know what I mean? That's the problem. But here's the thing that I saw this afternoon. Apparently, Nick Mangwana sent out this message on X. He said the Defense Forces Day is in August. This is when we celebrate the men and women who put their lives on the line for the greater good. Which date is this year's commemoration? Maybe he's asking question. I'm like, that's a liberation of blackmail. We've been sitting on this for decades. We don't care anymore. Honestly, I'm a person that if you disrespect me, I'll never respect you. I don't care about your age, unfortunately. You know why? Because I came from a family where I can talk to my father. My dad is almost 17. We can have a conversation. So if you disrespect me, forget it. Because even biblically, the Bible says the children should respect their parents, but their parents should never anger their kids as well. It's biblical. So I know how principles work. Don't come and abuse me, torturing me, frustrate my destiny and think that I must look at you and smile. Sorry, forget it. So if they don't respect us, they don't expect respect from us. Unfortunately, the army needs to understand that. If they don't respect the people of Zimbabwe, they will never be respected. It is a principle. Right. But I saw now Tavangi, Tavani Mpofu wrote a letter to the army, demanding that the army commander apologize to the people of Zimbabwe for what he said. You heard him saying that no, you should be voting for ZANU-PF. We are going to do command voting. Honestly, like I said to myself, forget about politics at hand. Look at him as a father, because he really is old enough to be my daddy, right? The army that was speaking is old enough to be my father. When I look at him and I hear him speaking, my heart breaks for him. Because these people don't realize how much they are living for their children. That their kids are going to live a miserable life because of how they have abused the people of Zimbabwe. They don't get it. I always say to myself, guys, don't be too comfortable. Life changes in a split second, right? Don't be too comfortable. This is the letter that Taman Mpov sent out this afternoon. So he said, dear sir, he sent it to the Zimbabwe National Army. He said, Lieutenant General Sanyatwe, Commander Zimbabwe National Army, Defense House. Dear sir, your partisan and politically charged utterances. Sir, it has come to our attention that you have been recorded addressing a gathering of multitudes in the following manner, per my translation. ZANU-PF shall rule and do donks grow horns. Whatever your stated and expressed wishes, I'm now speaking as a command of the army. We shall use what is called command voting. Do we understand each other? Forward with ZANU-PF, forward with ZANU-PF, forward with Idi Mnangagwa, down with the enemy. This is what he said. He was not translating it in English. And then he said, I consider the above statements to be a violation of Section 208, subsection 2 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, in that you, as a member of a security service, the Zimbabwe National Army, in so uttering such statements in a public gathering, acted in a partisan manner. Number B, further the interests of a political party, ZANU-PF. C, prejudice the lawful interests of a legitimate political cause, opposition to ZANU-PF, going so as far as viewing your own people who depend on you for protection as enemies. Is right. We are their enemies. Let's always do that. Section 155 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe and the Electoral Act, Chapter 2, subsection 1.3. Chapter 2, subsection 1.3, by threatening to rig elections in favor of ZANU-PF and against the opposition. 3. The first schedule of the Defense Act, Chapter 11, subsection 2, in that your conduct in uttering the above statements was unbecoming of an officer and a gentleman, as it amounted to willful and wanton violation of the Constitution and laws of Zimbabwe. Say, I therefore write to demand, as I now do, that you unreservedly withdraw your above statements within 7 days of your receipt of this letter. Failing which, I shall take steps to ensure that appropriate remedies under law are put in motion. In the meantime, sir, I remain yours sincerely, Tavan Chambers, Harare, Mpofu. I know some people said, do you think that that's going to make a lot of sense? You know what the army is all about? Forget it. That's our problem, Zimbabweans. That's where the problem is failure to follow the right processes. Whatever ZANU-PF says, we said yes, and they carry on. We see a lot of corruption on a day in, day out, and we act like we didn't see. They're just kind of brushing, and we carry on. That's why they're not stopping. In fact, they're getting worse and worse and worse because we are not standing firm. Today, I was sitting and I said to myself, we've got a number of people in Zimbabwe today, qualified attorneys across the world, qualified doctors, we have teachers, professional business people. I'm expecting in such a time like this, maybe we could be having 100 letters written to the Zimbabwe National Army, demanding that he retract what he said. But no, some people are sitting and saying, you know what, I don't want to get involved. But when they break-ins in their homes and their children are being murdered, they have a problem with it. But you are the problem because you're not taking action. You are keeping quiet in your corner and saying, no, my things are okay, me and my children, I don't want to get involved, right? I know I have my money, retirement in Unity, I'm cool. My insurances are fine, I've got a house, I've got cars, who cares? My kids went to university in Harvard, who cares? Sir and ma'am, they'll come after you because you did not stand for the right at the right time. South Africans will tell you, they did it. Accepting wrong when people were breaking into white people's houses. Today, they don't care what color, the color of your skin. Because they allowed evil to happen in their corner and they kept on supporting it, not saying a word. Brothers and sisters, stand for what's right, notwithstanding. Who said it? If we want a better nation, we must all stand firm and demand that we have a normal society. We're not all politicians. I'm not a politician. I can tell you I'm not a politician. I can put it out there. I'm a servant. I serve people. I don't want titles. Although titles follow me all the time, and I don't want them. Because I'm a servant. I'm expecting lawyers across the world to write letters to Zimbabwe, write letters to President Mnangagwa when wrongs are happening. He said, we cannot carry on with this kind of corruption. But now people are sitting and doing nothing. They expect other people to do it. You see what the problem is? Let me tell you what the danger is. When people stand up and bring the freedom that you want, they will come with conditions. Get me right. You just said me well. When people stand up and demand that there's a society that is normal, they will come with conditions. You know why? Because we did not come and hold hands together and work to bring a better society. Those that did, They will come and demand. They're entitled. Look what's happening in ZANU-PF, entitlement mentality. Because we fought, even though some of them never fought. They will start masquerading, lying, because you allowed people to do things when you were sitting and doing nothing. We must all start speaking with one voice and make sure we fix Zimbabwe. It must work in this country. We cannot carry on with this embarrassment. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to tell you what South Africans said. It's burning for ZANU-PF, unfortunately. They are not playing games. They're coming for them. They said we need to approach the international community and said we cannot keep on taking care of their people. And while they're busy looting, because everyone is seeing the corruption that's going on in the country. This information is at everyone's disposal. In fact, most of the investigations of Zimbabwe corruption is being done in South Africa. Why? Because our people are afraid to be murdered. So those that has better technology, they're able to scan everything and really do it well and make sure it's on public domain. Brothers and sisters, we're going to do what's right. And then I'll do everything in my power to make sure at least I have my voice heard to bring a Zimbabwe that I want. I can't stand fathers who look squarely in my eyes and threaten me and threaten the people around me. I can't stand. This is abusive to me. I'm like, you're abusing me. We have normalized the abnormal. I can only imagine. I've never heard any army commander in South Africa talk the way this army commander, Sanyatwe, did. I've never heard. Police, if they arrest you here, notwithstanding which country you're from, they will respect you. They will carry you with the dignity. They'll follow the due processes. Nobody was ever beaten people. They don't do that. Until we realize that our society is abnormal, we have accepted a lot of wrongs. And now we are sitting with problems and they're escalating because we are not able to say, this is not how you treat us. You do not treat us like that. We expect government officers to respect the citizens. You are because of the people and we are because of you. We work together, but we can't be enemies. So there's no way we are going to carry on with this abuse. It has to stop. I, as a daughter, I'm going to look squarely in his eyes and say, sir, Army Commander, Mr. Sanyatwe, I don't expect you to talk to me like that. You know why? I expect you to show me the way in the right direction. But I expect you to respect me because you want me to respect you. Respect is earned. You know why? Because I have a father at home whom I own and respect, right? So don't come and abuse me while at home my father respects me. It doesn't work like that. We imagine all of us speaking with one voice as a people. They will stop. But they can't stop because others are going to go there and be taking $5 and be supporting, oh, yes, yes, it's right, yes, yes. We need to get to a point where we say, wrong is wrong, right is right. Because we want a normal society. Unfortunately, until we cross, I'm going to be here demanding a normal society. For those that are looking for me, I've seen most of you are trying to get to me. Please don't waste your time. I've told you what you should do if you want to talk to me. You must tell me, you must go through the attorney to talk to me. In fact, my attorneys will write a letter straight to the government of Zimbabwe. If you want to mess up with me, I'm not going to shrink, not a single day. I want Zimbabwe to be a normal country. And I do not care who says what and who say who. My attorneys will write a letter to the government of Zimbabwe if you want to see me. And you must tell me why do you want to see me in person. Okay. All right, moving on. Moving on. Now, when I saw this article, I saw the article in Newsday paper, right? Newsday reported this article, reported this story that I think the issue of Chivhayo and President Mnangagwa warrants him impeachment. And I was like, first and foremost, I have to check my sources if they're okay. But I also know that Newsday falls under Alpha Media. So Alpha Media, the President Mnangagwa's son-in-law has got shares in Alpha Media. So which means whatever they report, and it has to do with the president, they mean business, they're not joking here. His relationship with Chivhayo warrants impeachment. And I also heard, the all vets are also talking about the issue of impeachment. You heard him? We heard them saying that on HSTV. I want you guys to take a listen to them. They said, no, we cannot be afraid anymore. Because if we did with Mugabe, we can do it now. Nothing will stop us. We can impeach them. And they're right. This is what I'm saying. Us as a young people, we have accepted the abnormal. But our fathers are able to say, this is not okay. Take a listen.
Doing this for you.
This man is angry. He's like,
You know, who convinced them? Saruka Baraka Bizam Gabi, Agasinama CIO. Agasinama General IG. I know I'm Ujewa. Wondering, but I am Semura. Is one of bombshell. Take your brother, Tagadi, Semura. Yeah. You see, so we are warning I don't know, Masuka. Jose land, Yema veterans. I'm also affected. I've got my land. Yandaga Piwa, Mavunga was the coordinator, Mr. Mavunga. Right? Was the coordinator. Apana Umbo, Waboda Upinai, but because of corruption, G40, right? My farm was taken, right? Igapoa 30, and 20 to Mnangagwa. We are not being protected. Mavunga, Minister of State, you know, the price goes, Tagamaya. Yes, nobody can come Palaganonzi. That's the day can out time. You see on my papers. And I want to warn those military officials. You know, they know what I want did to the plain sake. Namini Saigo. Right? We'll go for them. But apart from going for them, we are going to take the land.
But Honorable, the vice president, the president is a war veteran. The vice president is a war veteran. The Army General PV Smanda is a war veteran. The Commissioner General of the Police is a war veteran.
Right. I was coming General PV, na Commissioner General Matanga. Right? John Shifus. Gawajenda, Wanamatanga, Gawa in the PV, Wagaris. Wajenda Gupi, they are not going anyway. They are.
all right, sir. Man, this is quite interesting. You see, people are talking. You can hear what the war vets are saying. People are saying, oh, that's Gazer for Mr. Gazer. People are saying they must go. They've been there for too long. Never take that for granted. They've been there for too long. Like, guys, yesterday I was actually saying, sometimes my heart breaks. Because I'm seeing South Africans, like people resign, like, you know, okay, no, you know what, I've done my part, give other people a chance. In a Zimbabwean context, they are just holding on to something like this. They don't want to let go. And it doesn't make sense to me. Why? Why don't you let go of something? It is said, even old people also still say they want to be part and parcel of what? You're supposed to be taking care of your grandchildren, living a strong legacy, spending time with your kids. Yo, listen, I'm 41, but I can only imagine, like, around 60, no, man, that's too much. I want to chill. I want to stay at a farm there, you know, enjoy myself, listen to the birds, right? Right, if I've got grandchildren, if I've got family members, we've got young children, being a blessing to them, nurture them, mold them, counsel them, you know, at peace with life. But here we have all the people flooded in parliament. We have no clue of what they're doing. They don't even understand what a computer does. Then I'm asking myself, what is it? What is it that is on you? Like, there's just something wrong within the country. Like, it's this demonic spirit that is so obsessed with positions more than anything else. Is it because you fail to teach people about purpose? So everyone is obsessed with the position, not purpose. It's sad. It's heartbreaking. So I can say nearly 430 people. Like the live, guys. We need almost more than 100 people. I don't know what's going on here. Like the live, so we push algorithm, inviting everyone to come through, please. Now, let me read the article that was sent out by the Newsday. Good day, President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Your Excellency, as I see it, the scriptural rhetorical question, can two work together unless they are agreed? Amos 3, verse 3, underscores the impeachable misdemeanor of your depraved association with convicted fraudster and tenderpreneur Wicknell Chivhayo. Essentially, the question suggests that two people must be in agreement, sharing mutual purposes. Otherwise, they cannot walk and talk together, joining in a meaningful and supportive manner without commonality. Chivhayo enjoys unfettered proximity to you. He is the envy of many, including ZANU-PF cadres. Apparently, you share with him the mutuality of the camaraderie spirit, despite his criminal conviction. Consequently, methinks his association with you warrants impeachment from the presidency, given that people cannot walk and talk together unless they are agreed. His corrupted execution of the multi-million-dollar Gwanda solar panel generation project and the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission ZEC tender hardly nibbles your conscience. So is a 1 million donation to the Zion Church, Christian Church. I don't think it's the one that donated. He's flying with you in your aircraft and hanging around you at your farm, point to mutuality. Your Excellency, the response of an audio recording widely suspected to be of Chivhayo by my fellow communication practitioners in your offices fell a million miles short of the intuition befitting the highest office in the land. They lacked the constancy of Prophet Nathan, who pronounced the guilty verdict on King David. It is regrettable that the audio recording brought disrepute to the presidency and the first secretary of ZANU-PF. Yet it was erroneous of my brethren in the communication profession to apportion the blame and wrongful resultant consequences on Chivhayo. I reckon the responsibility of safeguarding the integrity of the presidency rests with you, the incumbent. It is your uppermost key result area to be attentive to the strict adherence to sobriety and decorum. Done association with Chivhayo in a misdemeanor and warrants impeachment from the presidency. Truly association vitiated by the corruption were unheard of during the tenure of the deposed late former President Robert Mugabe. Despite his manifold dictatorial tendencies, Mugabe was a judicious custodian of the eminence of presidency. It is reprehensible that you practically embody the agents. When clown occupies the palace, it becomes a circus. Yet it is a mandate to preserve the dignity of the presidency, not Chivhayo, as presumed by my fellow communicators. Responding to the utterance alleged to have been made by Chivhayo that he was in your circle, ZANU-PF Director of Information Fare Marapira retorted that the ruling party would soon put an end to the antics of Chivhayo. Yet you welcome him to be around you and visiting dignitaries. Our president is incapable of being captured. His history is too illustrious to be reduced by any supposed tomfoolery or overzealous. We definitely will not allow that. We will not tolerate it and stand by, declared Marapira. Marapira could end up with an egg on his face, given that the source of funding of the lump sum handout you lavished the cabinet, deputy ministers, legislators, and high court judges, and the villa in Equatorial Guinea are yet to be revealed. He risks being haunted by his statement. If ever there could be a heroic, patriotic service that you could render that would salvage your reputation, it would be to relinquish the presidency forthwith. Methinks you have the moral obligation to voluntarily step down. Your Excellency, you owe it to yourself, then to citizenry at large, and to posterity to relinquish the presidency. Considering the discernment, integrity, and sobriety expected of the president's association with Chivhayo warrants impeachment. As if your storming to power cases of a military coup in 2017 was not sufficiently untoward to democratic tenets, the two consecutive inconclusive harmonized elections cast your presidency forlornly outside of the rank of duly accountable leadership. It warrants some detailed scholarly studies on how your power grab survived the punitive sense ordinarily meted out to successions that violate time-honored principles democracy. Furthermore, you had the audacity to unleash the men in boots twice on citizenry. Added to that, throughout your tenure, you never purposely endeavor to accommodate the progressive alternative voice of reason on all facets of democracy and accountable governance. Contrarily, you regard civil society as enemies of the state. Your Excellency, contrary to your engagement in the re-engagement cause, Zimbabwe was conspicuous by her absence at a recent two-day meeting of defense chiefs drawn from 32 African nations, United Nations, Africa Command, AFRICOM, meeting the governor in Botswana recently. From where I stand, you have the moral obligation to step down. If ZANU-PF was full-fledged revolutionary party is oftentimes claimed, it would be imperative for it to demonstrate its sincerity by instituting impeachment proceedings against you. As the oftentimes recited words of William Shakespeare, all the world is a stage and all men and women are merely players. They have their exits and their entries. Association with Chivhayo irretrievably trust you at the exit of your presidency. I reckon the Old Testament scripture passage, an old king who grew worse and worse and became increasingly rebellious and disobedient as he grew older, 1 Samuel 15:23, does not bear resemblance with your likely rulership intragains given the ED 2030 sloganeering, which I find weird. I duly subscribe to the democratic principle that the first secretary, president, and prime minister are designations that donate to all intents and purposes. A first among equals, these titles entail the burden of leading equals with a profound sense of collective responsibility. Forsooth, your association with the Chivhayo arouses intention aversion. It is my conviction that the precedent of recalling presidents was set by your fellow revolutionary party, the African National Council of South Africa, will be compelling option should you dare to step down. Your Excellency, if you ask me, association with the Chivhayo is fundamentally indecorous. It fittingly warrants your impeachment. Why does it sound like I know the person who wrote this article? The person is, I've told that the problem with Zimbabweans is we get to normalize the abnormal. No wonder why people just think, oh, that's not important, we can do whatever we want. We normalize the abnormal. I can't even begin to fathom how people wake up in the morning and sleep with what's going on in the country and think that that's okay. In my opinion, I can't begin to fathom that. And that what makes me wonder, are we going to really be a normal generation at all? Or when the normal comes in, we won't be able to grab it because we will be afraid. To say, it doesn't make sense. You know, it's like a person who's been in an abusive relationship for years. When they get to meet a right person, what do? They actually kind of bastardize them or actually project their toxicity on them because they don't understand love. Or if the person is nice, they think the person is stupid. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah, I've met people like that. Yes, I've met people like that. I don't know why the Holy Spirit does what it's doing. That's when I'm nice to them, they think I'm stupid. I'm not stupid, I'm just a nice person by nature. So it doesn't mean that I'm less than who I am. And I often remind people that no, but I lower my standards to actually meet you where you are. But if you keep on pulling me down, I'm gonna have to leave you and I have to let go, right? Yes, as nice people look like they're stupid. That's what ZANU-PF does. They look at Zimbabweans like we're stupid. Because they've been abusing us for a long time. That's why I want to use the word abuse. Because to them, is they hide behind politics. ZANU-PF have been abusing Zimbabweans for a long time. And that should never be taken for granted. They've ruined lives. They've destroyed destinies. They've ruined marriages. They've destroyed, generations. Young people today are stuck with drug addiction because of ZANU-PF. And they have the nerve to come through and say they want to be there and do madungami nyanga. The level of disrespect is unheard of. They don't have hearts. I don't know if they even understand what a human being is about. That we will never come to this world to be abused. We came here to live. In fact, our people are not living, they're surviving. Living on survival. The fact that people are not able to stand firm and speak truth to power, to me, that sounds like people abuse. Notwithstanding how much money is in their account. Freedom has nothing to do with how much money you have. It's everything to do, can you stand for what you believe in? Without no pushback or abuse, yes. If you don't, then you're not free. moving on to Mr. Chivhayo, who is associating with the president. He has been barred from entering America. You saw him when he was in America the time, like 2 days ago, he was showing himself off and whatever, but he didn't know what was waiting for him because his corrupt activities are all over the place. So allegations are, he's been barred. They don't want to see him again in that space because of corruption. It's going to rain heavily for many people, unfortunately. All these threats are simply to scare you not to protest. But like I said, peaceful protests are constitutional. And peaceful protest is what we believe in. We believe in talking. We believe in communication. We're not a generation that believe in violence. So give us the platform to speak. And we're good. All right? We'll be good. Now, while we are all in all these shenanigans, and we thought maybe with what had happened, the Chivhayo money issue was going to raise, there was no money that was going to be dished out. No. These guys are still dishing out monies. And first time I had asked the question, because I saw that article actually. When she's asking Nick Mangwana, I said, dear Mr. Nick Mangwana, do you recall telling us that Wicknell Chivhayo was not getting paid by the government on the 21st of June 2024, which is recently? Are you aware of the reports that Guamatanga was forced to pay Wicknell Chivhayo 7 million, even though state coffers are not running dry? We don't have the money in the country, but they paid 7 million. And by the way, I saw that 7 million I saw actually Ali posted it. Guys, let me say this. Please respect the village intelligence chief. Okay. Problem with Zimbabweans is you pretend like you don't see the truth. The guy has been speaking all this stuff that I'm seeing today because I wasn't following him. I only came to Twitter about a year ago because I want to make sure at least I understand what the hell is going on with Zimbabwe. Why are we so stuck for decades, man? There must be a solution on the table. For you, I didn't even know who I was. I only came on YouTube last year to tell you the truth because I wasn't a social media person. I'm a businesswoman, so I didn't want to be. I was busy in my life. But I was like, no, man, I need to play a part to make sure I build a society that I think makes sense. This is nonsense. What I'm seeing here is abnormal in my world. Young people should be doing incredible things. Leadership should understand that we have a purpose to fulfill. It's not about them. We do not come in this world for them. We come to this world to fulfill purpose. I'll be saying this very clear to say, whether you are, okay, let's put this very, very clear. Okay. The army commander, Mr. Sanyotwe, if he feels or think that our demands are too much as a Zimbabwean people, he's more than welcome to leave the position. As simple as that. President Mnangagwa, if he thinks Zimbabweans are demanding too much that he cannot meet, he has the right to resign. Why do you force yourself to be in a position at the same time you don't want people to question you? To me, I find it weird, right? If you're tired, like, guys, I've seen people resigning like a month or two, and someone's going to come to me and say, no, you don't know dictatorship. Hold on. Don't play with words. Words are dangerous. Don't feed the enemy words. There's nothing called dictatorship. There's everything called taking advantage of people. I don't like to conceal wrong by using these glamorous words so that something look like it's a good thing to do. That's what you call another person is a cheater. No, a person is immoral. There's a difference. If they want to have 5 wives, they're more than welcome to come clean and have polygamy. But the moment they're cheating, it's no longer cheating. It's being disrespectful and being immoral. There's a difference. But you like to use words to conceal wrong. That's what's going on here. Dictatorship. Excuse me. It's taking advantage of the poor. Taking advantage of the vulnerable. So that they know what that means, right? You're taking advantage of me. Because I've got a gun, I don't know if it's a gun. Because you can release the tanks. But this time, we'll be smoking the tear gas there. We'll take the rubber bullets and step on them and say, let's go. Right? This time. We're not folding back. We mean business. Listen, it's death or the motherland. Right? I said it's death or the motherland. My friend always say that it's death. I said it's death or the motherland. You know what that means? Yes. We mean business. We're not playing games here. Gone are the days when we were joking and playing and be smiling. No, not anymore. Brothers and sisters, we mean business. You heard it from me. So do you know that he refused payment in Zig? Akarama Zig, Wicknell Chivhayo, said he can't take the Zig, he only want. Why is this man getting so much money? I told you yesterday that allegations are one of his account in Sentry, FNB account, is sitting with 102 million rands. Where does Wicknell work? Answer me now. Where does he work? And we haven't even get to the Sentry report. Your hearts are going to be broken. 1.6 billion right now at hand. And we haven't get there yet to show you what's going on in this country. And listen, guys, I'm not afraid of death. I don't know how much Kufa. I'm not. Because to me, death is gain. To go home and be with the Father is gain. But at least I've done well. When I get to heaven at the gate, God is going to say, you faithful servant, you stood up and do the right thing. So I'm not afraid of death. For those who think they can square me with death, no, I'm not afraid of death. Who's not going to die? Everyone is going to die. You know what I'm afraid of? Is to live my life not fulfilling the purpose God has given me. That's what breaks my heart. I don't want to be one of the person that, the late Moss Monroe always say, that when you get to the graveyard, there are so many people who died with their purpose before they fulfill it. That's what terrifies me. That I'm going to live without living my full potential in this world. That terrifies me. But death, it doesn't. You know why? My mom is in heaven. My uncles, many people are up there, even including your family members. So what's so scary there? To see the people that you have missed for a long time. I'm not terrified about truth. I'm not that kind of person. You can try others. We can sheep. I'm not one of them. Listen, I face the real lions. I'm going to be like David, y'all. I'm going to tell you, I said, no. Bring Goliath on, because I've told the bears before. So listen, I know what's going on in Zimbabwe. It's the enemy. So let him come. He knows what I've defeated before. He knows who I am. He can call my name. He tells somebody, Rumba, I know her. I know her. Come, bring it on. I've told the bear before, bring it on. We'll bring it down. Goliath is going to fall this time. We're not playing games. We're in business here. You heard me. So Mr. Chivhayo keeps on milking the state, getting money over money. You saw him, said, you know what, Auntie and it was the main actor doesn't die, right? That's what he was saying. He's saying that the man is arrogant. I've never seen a human being so arrogant. But you know what? Pride precedes a fall. He's very close to his end. But you know what happens when you're being deceived by the devil? You think you're bigger? He makes sure that he blinds you to see the truth. He's very close to the finishing line. Now to more bombshell. That is going to make you even more angry. You think you've heard about corruption. You haven't heard about corruption in Zimbabwe. In fact, what's going on in Zimbabwe, I don't even want to use the word corruption. The word corruption is too glamorous for me. The level of evil that's going down in this country is unbelievable. Now, the NewsHawks reported today another bombshell. Again, dropped by the Sentry report. You know the Sentry report? They've done quite a number of reporting. I remember last year we saw one that they did on Kudakwashe Tagwirei and other guys that he was taking money. Again, President Mnangagwa was roped in that, again, corrupt activity. Him and Mnangagwa, right, was the Reserve Bank governor at that time. He was also roped into the very same, trio, right? So now they said Kuvimba transaction mystery. Who got paid and who got what? That's the question. So Zimbabwean authorities should investigate who got paid in the massive shadow 1.6 billion transaction between Mutapa Investment Fund, formerly Sovereign Wealth Fund, and Kuvimba Mining House Ltd. The Sentry, a United States private investigation organization, says in its latest investigation. Now, let me just remind you, do you remember the issue of Mutapa Investment Fund, what happened last year? Okay, Jesus Christ. Do you remember the fights? When people were saying, why did you change the Zimbabwe Sovereign Fund into Mutapa Sovereign Fund? Do you remember that? People were asking questions. Why are you changing the name of Zimbabwe Sovereign Fund to Mutapa? Because they knew what they wanted to do, right? They knew what they knew what they wanted to do. The moment you see Zimbabwe Sovereign Fund, then it can immediately ring in your mind like, what's the hell? Zimbabwe? That's a nation. But if you say Mutapa Sovereign Fund, that sounds like someone's handbag, right? Like it's my children's trust fund. Now the Sentry says this is perhaps the biggest financial scandal in modern Zimbabwean history. 1.6 billion. Now you wonder why the country is sewer everywhere, pipes breaking everywhere. People are drinking dirty water. That's why I told you, Guti, listen. This is no longer corruption. This is the highest form of wickedness. You know. Building on work done by the NewsHawks, the Sentry, which probes multinational predatory networks that benefit from violent conflict, repression, and kleptocracy, says the massive transaction in dodgy and must be investigated as it involves public institutions and public funds. The Sentry, in its latest report released this morning, says Zimbabwe's new sovereign wealth fund reportedly paid 1.6 billion, 5% GDP, for shares in a mining conglomerate, which recently links to Kudakwashe Tagwirei. I'm going to pause there because Brother Kudakwashe is a Christian. So he claims he's a Christian. Yo, listen, yo. In the church, in the Seventh-day Church, they hail him as the elder of the church, the elder. How the church has ruined people and masquerade and lie. Yo, listen, what's going to follow Zimbabwe? It's bigger than what we can ever imagine. You know why? Because they've used the name of God to lie and hoodwink innocent, vulnerable people. You know, it's one thing to do your wrong, but when you use the name of God, it's a curse that no man can remove. Do you know, if I curse a person, if I curse someone right now, and I can speak a word of a curse right now, they can go to God and God can avert the curse. But when God curses you, no man can reverse it. And that's the case that's going to come down on many people in Zimbabwe who are involved in all this evil that they're doing here, using the name of God, masquerading like pastors, prophets, and all manner of things. So a presidential advisor, that's Kudakwashe Tagwirei for you, and a ruling party donor accused of corruption. He's described as a donor. You see, donor is donating. He's not a donor. 1.6 billion. And you come back and donate maybe $1 million. You're going to say, oh, no, he's donating. Oh, he's a giver in the church. You know how the enemy works? Sources confirm that the country's debt has leaped up to 3 billion from 18 billion to 21 billion. Remember, we are sitting on a 21 billion debt in Zimbabwe right now. You know what pisses me off why I'm sitting here on this chair and in this chair and talking about this? It's because I have to pay for the debt that these people are taking. My children will have to pay for their debt. That's one of the reasons why I'm sitting here. Because do you know what the reason why there was a fight in Kenya? It's because of the debt. So now the government was now want to milk citizens to pay this debt. People are like, no way. Because we saw the money being looted right in front of us, and now you want us to pay for your looting? That's why there was fight in Kenya. And what people don't realize that, you know, this is a season that is passing. Our children, with all the education and the wisdom, they will not stand this nonsense to pay for people's debts. In a short space of time, our debt that we're sitting at $18 billion, it escalated to $21 billion. Because people have blessed themselves and you call them rich people in the country. It's time for us to start having a conversation what success really means. Because I don't think majority of Zimbabweans know what success really means. They don't understand it. They think a thief is a successful person. No. Show us your books. Tell me about your resume. How did you get here? Show me your story. Yo, do you know if I wake up tomorrow and run the most successful entertainment business in Zimbabwe, you understand where I started because you will say, oh, we saw her. So when I tell you my story, you're like, we understand where she came from. But most of the people you are calling successful people are just woodwinking. They don't have no story to tell. It's microwave success overnight. So Zimbabwe's debt skyrocketed to 21 billion from 18 billion in just few months. Get that? In just few months. As treasury bills worth almost 10% of the GDP have been issued since November 2023. Of that new debt, 1.9 billion is to recapitalize the Mutapa Investment Fund, Zimbabwe's new sovereign wealth fund, while 900 million has been allocated to the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. The Sentry adds, if this figure is accurate, then about 4/5 of the 1.9 billion debt incurred to allow Mutapa to revive failing COEs has been used to pay a few private individuals. The money was used to share with the friends, the buddies, the big boys. And the children are driving Porsche cars overseas. We are rich. They don't understand that the curse of God is going to reign and everything will be vanity. So a US 1.6 billion price tag for a 35% stake would value Kuvimba at 4.6 billion overall, triple the 1.5 billion valuation given to Kuvimba by the government in 2022. Okay, so the other 1.5 billion was paid to Kuvimba, this company, Kuvimba or Kuvimba, whatever you call it. This would raise serious questions about whether Mutapa has grossly overvalued the shares. Mutapa, named after an ancient Shona kingdom, has taken over the shares of more than 20 state-owned enterprises in an unconstitutional and illegal way done by President Emmerson Mnangagwa. I really remember the fight last year. The jewel in Mutapa's crown is Kuvimba Mining House, which owns around a dozen gold, lithium, nickel, and platinum mines. In April, the NewsHawks reported that MIF paid 1.6 billion through treasury bills to acquire 35% of Kuvimba Mining House Limited from a management consortium in the company valued at 4.5 billion. The Sentry says the market transaction must be probed. Zimbabwe's independent auditor general has the remit to audit public expenditure, including by state-owned entities such as the Mutapa Investment Fund. It says auditor general reports frequently trigger hearings by the Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee, PAC. Both the Auditor General and the PAC should urgently open inquiries into Mutapa's acquisition of shares in Kuvimba. The PAC hearing should be held in public. These 5 questions should underpin an inquiry. What was the purchase price? How was the valuation carried out? What was the full ownership culture, structure of Kuvimba at the time of payment? Who got paid? What happened to the treasury bill after it was issued? Further, the Sentry knows if any wrongdoing is found, the Auditor General and the PAC should refer the matter to the police and the Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission. Banks and commercial counterparties, banks and other financial institutions should conduct enhanced due diligence into an entity seeking to sell discount the treasury bill described in this report. In the past, when Secunda, a Tagwirei controlled company, was given 366 million treasury bill for its role in running an agricultural program. It sold parts of the debt instrument to banks at a discount in order to get access to hard currency. The Sentry says the banks would then hold the treasury bill until it matured, when they could go to central bank and redeem it for its fast value plus interest. Multilateral development banks issues raised by the new debit issuance should be discussed in the AFDB-led structured dialogues on debt clearance, including those working groups that include civil society representatives, so that the government of Zimbabwe can explain the thinking behind the purchase of the Kuvimba shares. It states the AFDB should push the government of Zimbabwe to publish a list of the entities and financial institutions holding the domestic debt, including the particular treasury bill, the Sentry says. Until recently, the state owned 65% of Kuvimba and state investors held 35% of the shares. In April 2024, however, the NewsHawks revealed that Mutapa bought out the private investors for 1.6 billion using a treasury bill, a short-term government funding instrument in 2021. The Sentry revealed that Kuvimba's private investors included Fimbi Resources, a company controlled by Tagwirei. Okay, the man seems to be right. They were in the church at the Seventh-day Church. Fimbi was a shareholder of Ziwa Resources, which in turn held shares in Kuvimba. This analysis was later updated to show that Fimbi, a Shona word that carries connotations of secret stash, right? It's the stashing of funds. was owned by two trusts. The Kudakwashe Tagwirei Trust, whose beneficiaries were his family, and the Eagles Trust, whose beneficiaries were unknown. Fimbi's corporate documents list a lawyer regularly used by Tagwirei as the point of contact for both trusts. Tagwirei denies any link to Kuvimba, of course, but well-informed sources say that he was making key decisions at the firm as late of September 2023 last year, just before Mutapa's purchase of the Kuvimba shares. Mutapa frames 1.6 billion buyout as an opportunity to end speculation about Kuvimba's ownership. A cheaper way to lay the matter to rest would have been to publish the records for Kuvimba, Ziwa, and the Eagles Trust, which are missing from official registries. Given the absence itself is a red flag, considering that other companies with missing records include politically sensitive firms, such as the president's farm and the military entities. Now you're shocked where the military is at the forefront speaking. I'm not surprised. It is impossible to be certain who the ultimate beneficiaries of the Mutapa payment were. Nick Donovan, senior investigator at the Sentry, said, Mutapa has serious questions to answer. Who got paid? How much did they get? If it is true that these unknown shareholders got paid 1.6 billion US dollars, this could be the biggest scandal in Zimbabwe's history. And I saw the photo of the executive director. Is a white guy. His name is Trevor Bernard. Now that makes you question when they says, you are selling the country to white people. Whenever Chamisa is greeting a white man, even an Indian person to speak, you are actually selling the country to white people. It's all gaslighting. All gaslighting, woodwinking citizens. You know, I'm not afraid to die, right? I've told you, I made it very clear. Let them know that if they want to come to me, because I know they're looking for me. No, when they're looking for me, no, I don't think they're looking for me to hurt me, but I think they're looking for me to have a deal with me, but I don't take dirty money. Because you know why? I fear God. I fear God. I do fear God. I'm afraid. He's gonna, damn, I can't. My entire life, from the time I gave my life to Christ, to lose that because of 2 cents. No. In fact, I'm a millionaire for those who didn't know. So, sorry. It's not going to work, unfortunately. So, sorry. Try other people. Yeah, you know, and bless you. Even though I don't have no money, but I'm a millionaire. So, I may be a billionaire one day. Yeah, you know. Let's move on. You've had 1.6 billion in caution. You had yesterday more money is on corruption. You've had, I mean, Zimbabwe has been corruption every day. In fact, we're hearing about corruption. These are small little boys who they are simply suffering because they actually divulged information. Otherwise, they could be maybe sitting and just do their thing, y'all. What breaks my heart is the suffering of our people. With all this money, tell me where Zimbabwe could be today. With all this money that you hear today. All right, now we're going to move to the culture. Margarito. So for those valitas, please, you can leave. You're more than welcome to leave, okay? Because what we're going to listen now is a bit sensitive, okay? I was listening to an interview that was done by the Danish show, for those that had an opportunity to watch it. But something that came out there that was very distinctive that I want to talk about right now before I close. But I'm going to ask you guys to like the live. I don't know why there are more than 400 people who do not like the live. Guys, you know how important it is. Push your algorithm. Invite Zimbabweans to like the live, and then we can all have conversations. It's time we speak with one voice. This time we are not forwarding. It is what it is, unfortunately. They like it or not, we are not forwarding. We are in for freedom. We are in to put a stop to wickedness. We are in to put a stop to evil. Yow! I'm not afraid of a gun. No, I'm not afraid. What I'm afraid of is not fulfilling my purpose. Because there are people who have decided to block me to live my full potential for their personal interest. That scares me, terrifies me. But if it is a gun or death, that's nothing. Nothing. I'll go to heaven smiling because I've done good in this world. And God knows I've done good. Let's listen to Maponga, please. One thing that I want to tell you is that I respect Bishop Maponga. Sometimes he can be off. But I respect him because I do remember he made it very clear that you put Zimbabwe before ZANU-PF. I said respect to say. He said, I think ZANU-PF wanted him to run propaganda. I said, nope. I put Zimbabwe before ZANU-PF. So unfortunately, I can't run your propaganda. That's why you see that he distanced himself from the entire nonsense He distanced himself. I think for that one, I give it to him. He became a man of integrity. I don't know if it was temporary, but as far as I know, he made it clear that he said, no, guys, try other people. We have time to waste, not I. So we're going to take a listen to him, please. Go ahead.
True. And a woman would then invite a man into her space for the purposes that she wanted. Women controlled their sexuality. This whole thing of yours of sleeping with men 28 days a month, even getting tablets to stop periods so that you can go on a date.
That's deep.
It can't be right by morning, by night. That sex has become a kingpin of running relationships. Go touch it.
In these days, what was Vita last?
Miriam, man.
Yeah.
And when you look into our ancient knowledge systems, again, within the gospel space that I'm writing, it is downloading all this data. And I'm not just saying it to you as mothers and fathers that you should get offended, but I'm saying this to you so that as a parent, you'll have something that you can share with your children to preserve ourselves as Africans.
Polygamy was next, but did you address it? What are your thoughts on polygamy? What comes to mind?
Oh, polygamy?
Yeah, polygamy.
Abraham ongane 4, 3, 4, Jacob agaita 4, 5, David agata 8, bakazoguma 70, Solomon agaita 700, agata 300. Apana mu Bible, Moses in the Old Testament, where monogamy is discussed as an issue. But let me mention it so that it's on record. Women don't marry men. Women marry an estate. The issue of polygamy is not how many women does the man have. How many women does the man have? The question is, does a woman have a husband?
Did they get that?
If you can only work with your husband here on the white, what must he do on the 21 days when he's away from you? Munofarira kuminya mapirisi enyu shanga dzamatanga kumwedzi vana vamurenga duduze muchimwa mapirisi. And you think that you can run your homes based on a white hegemony. I am betting, I promise you, it's a short-lived honeymoon. The side effects of these medications, you will live the rest of your lives paying for the deaths of not becoming naturally punctuated. That's why many women are struggling today and many homes are in trouble, because women are out of timing. Come on. Women are out of Bible rozodiro sunga izvivuno zvenyu nechokwadi. Sunga chivuno nechokwadi. Zvinorevechi, fasten up your waistlines with truth. With truth. Women are the problem. Why? You give birth to children that you don't know. You give birth to children, you don't know their fathers. You give birth to children, you give them the wrong fathers. You mess up. Pressure food.
Yeah, he's very naughty.
The whole community is confused. Even now, when we are talking about ancestral calling, lots of young people, hey, ndinamashikiro, hey, ndinamdzimu, hey, hakuna midzimu. Mashavi nenamo yokutsvaka kuti baba vangu ndiani. It's sick of identity. And where does this sit? It sits on your loins as women. Sungai zvuno zvenyu nechokwadi. And hence I said it again, that virginity and purity of woman women is the spirituality of the community. Nyambetaita zvechikaranga doro racho haringobikwika tinototsvaka vasikana vasina kumbovata navakomana. Handizve here shadaya shadaya uri kuhere shadaya tototsvaka vasikana vasati vambovata nechi ndovanotochera mvura chembere dzinobika hadziaendi kumwedzi. And the whole African spirituality sits on the purity of women. And I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about how can we reproduce the girl child and put them at the center. This whole patriarchal story we hear about, hey, men are these, men are providers, men are... That's rubbish. The spirituality of a community sits on a woman. These are our doors into life.
So the bottom line is that, all right, so what I want to thank him for is the fact that he was willing to say that to the Zimbabwean. The Zimbabweans actually, in Zimbabwe, was in Zimbabwe there, because what I'm hearing nowadays is that we have lost our morals completely. The way young girls are behaving is unheard of. It's shocking. It breaks my heart though. It does break my heart because most of our problems are emanating from this lifestyle, immorality. When he says this, because he's talking from a traditional point, as a father, he's a traditional man. But for me, as a Christian, I came from a church where I was in the AFM church. That's where I grew up. You were not allowed to, actually, this traditional standard churches, right? That's where I grew up. 4 times I stood before the church and, I was, people, there are things that we could be summoned for, absolutely. 4 times as a singer, so I was in the choir singing, and I'm still a singer. Yeah, what do you see me singing? Majority of people think that has to be albums right now because I used to sing. So 4 times I was called before the church board, actually, yeah. That the time I was accused of being seen with a man, so they go on the street. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't know that was actually a family brother, whatever the case was. And the second time, 4 times I told you before the church. At the time I was called in because I would come for the choir and they said I was wearing a mini skirt. Now, my suit I was wearing, the skirt was a bit short. This was like the way that I grew up for me, But however, I still get to come to South Africa with a different, culture. Here you can do whatever you want, You can do whatever you want. I can binge all night. Nobody even cares. Nobody knows that I was never still with my parents, Most of the times I was alone. But I think it's time for us to have this conversation, very important conversation. There's a lot of nonsense that's going on in the streets today. Because what I do not like is that when there are problems, they still come back to us for solutions. I don't remember my friend, whom I love, very close friend of mine. She looked squarely in my eyes one day. She said to me, Rumba, I've got respect for prostitutes. I said, what do you mean by that? She said, you know why? Because at least they're getting paid. There are a lot of women out there who are just private to prostitute themselves for nothing. Because men are smart in 2024. They call you my wife, right? My wife, sweetheart, baby. You're like, oh my God, finally I'm here. I found a Mr. Right. No, it's just a game. And here you are opening yourself to a liar on the street. And I'm talking to girls, not to women. Hear me out. You put yourself first. Don't buy into men who comes with all this, oh, sweetheart, my baby, or the love of my life. Don't buy it. A man is to prove himself that he's got the qualities to be a husband. That's what the Bible says. He will find a wife. It did not say you will find a girlfriend. It said a wife. What it means is you become a wife. And it's easier to identify a husband material because not every man is a husband material. This was one of the reasons why Esther, when they were competing to marry the king, they went through the process of becoming a wife before the day of competing to marry the king. There are still cultures today where people go into, when you want to marry someone, you go stay with the family. And they show you how they cook, what they eat in the family, what they do, and you get to understand. But we've already separated ourselves from all that we knew gave us so much sanity. And here we are pursuing what's going on in the world that is destroying us daily. So you see, I'm gonna use, because I'm not gonna, if I get flagged if I use certain words. So I'm gonna, spell. So sex was created by God for married people. But today in 2024, we are pursuing PORN because that's what the world or mainstream media is selling. And we're thinking that's the norm. And you know what's happening? We are dying daily. When my friend looked square in my eyes and told me that, she said, listen, I've been using myself for free. Because every man I met, I thought I found the right one. And that's why I find it weird when a man looks in my eyes and said to me, no, but if I don't do this, how can I marry a cow that I'd never tasted in the milk? I look at him and said, sir, then you're not the right person because you don't even know what love is. Love is bigger than the cow. It's a spiritual transaction. So when a person comes to you with conditions, no, but I can't do because I want a woman who's like that. And a woman who's going to be like that. Look at, you know that you have found the wrong person. They have no clue of what they're talking about. Love is bigger than what you guys think. That's why if you meet up with the divorce attorneys today, the most cases, even today in Zimbabwe, are divorces. You know why? Because the processes in which you guys get married are wrong. You're cutting corners. I've heard many people say, but you never know. They say that to me all the time. You never know, Rumbi. I'm 41 years. So people want to try to lecture me. They don't know that I'm 20 steps ahead. You never know, man. Just try. Try? I don't try stuff. I do stuff. I think. I premeditate stuff. I'm intentional in everything that I do. Because a genuine man from a good family genuinely want to marry someone, he knows how to appreciate a woman. He's very much aware. Because you know why? He's protecting himself too. He's not just going to pick anybody on the streets. He's very much aware of how to identify a good woman. That's why a man can graze women all you want, or stay with a woman cohabitating for 10 years, and he can marry someone in 3 months. Ask yourself why. Because he knew what he is looking for. It's for women to really stand for themselves and do what's right in 2024. Otherwise, girl, you're going to be used. They will finish you on the streets. They don't care. The men in 2024, I know they don't care. What he's saying is the truth. He's a father. I respect him. He's giving the right counsel. Especially in Zimbabwean community, it's needed so desperately because people have adopted certain cultures they don't have a clue of. I've stayed in Johannesburg for as long as I can. I've always been open about it. Nearly 20 years. So I understand this culture so well. But when I sit down, listen, I've sat down with many of them. The brokenness is so deep. Because each and every man you meet is coming from a family that has traditions, culture, understanding, failures, demonic spirits, sometimes success too. This is why you find that you always find prostitution around poverty people, poor people. Successful children come from well-built families. Don't just marry anybody. Parents scrutinize the person because they don't want to sell their child to anybody for the sake of anybody. So until we have that conversation, we're not going anywhere, Zimbabweans. Let's revamp our society by telling the truth. Young people, don't prostitute your body. Because let me tell you, in 2024, most of you are going to regret. The Zimbabwe that is coming right now is going to be a Zimbabwe where your resume matters. Can I say this? Zimbabwe is a small country. It's possible to sleep with someone and you meet his uncle tomorrow and you want to marry him. And damn, you are meeting this man there. Like, oh my word, you've been with John, and John is actually the nephew to whoever you want to marry. And then what happens? That's the end. Zimbabwe is a small country. Don't let people fool you. No, but you know what? Things have changed. They've changed it to you. Don't tell. I go to a white church. White people still don't believe in that. So don't tell me there's nothing English about it. Majority of people want to convince me that it's English. You can just cohabitate if you want to. I said, hey, I've done property for almost 8 years now. I've seen how white people in India do when kids are cohabitating. Both families will come there. Both parents will come. Ask a Zimbabwean child who's staying with a man today in a foreign land. Did you tell your parents you're staying with a man? Definitely not. You know why? Because you know they won't agree to that. You know they will never accept that nonsense. It's all in your head. But when problems comes, you want to drag everyone else into mud so they can be part of your nonsense. Young people, love yourself, respect your bodies. That's all I'm going to say. He's telling you the truth. Women have the power to stop anything. Whenever I hear that, I always say men are not even bad at all, because I meet men all the time. I'm 41. So you should understand that I've met men of all caliber. High value men, you call them. Rich men, all the top class, you say they've got money, cars, whatever you say. I've met them. Middle class I've done. All type of men I've met them. So I know how they operate. But at the end of the day, ask yourself why they're still single. Because they haven't found a wife material yet. You are simply someone, you also just join a list of those that they just use while they pass. In fact, the reason why most of them are single is because they're getting anyone they want anytime, any minute. I can just call Mary to come here. She'll come anytime as I want. Why am I marrying? Why am I putting my man down? For those who didn't listen to the entire video, he said quite a number of things that are so important. Right? I want you to go there and listen to him. To that video. He did it by Denisho. The Denisho Maponga spoke a lot of powerful stuff there. You would want to watch that video. Incredible video that will teach you to be better people. I'm sorry. I'm also going to tell you the truth. Whether you like it or not, it's up to you. Because at the end of the day, it will show with the time what you chose. I don't remember another girl when we were in Harare at that time. I think I was around 18, 19 years old. And she was at the University of Zimbabwe. This young girl had a child with a doctor. The doctor was married, and his wife. I remember she was struggling to feed a child. We're talking about a doctor. The doctor, at that time, they were earning big money. Doctors. I'm talking about real doctors. But she was struggling to feed a child. You know why? Because the man did not care. He cared about his family. So you must understand men are sexual beings. That's how they were created. So don't be part of the list of those who are just being used while he's moving on. If he wants to marry you, you must do the right thing. Follow the right processes. A man who's genuine will respect you for that. I've never seen a man who says, I left a woman because she didn't want to sleep with me. And I love her. I've never met one. You know why? Because you're not the one. But you're simply being used. And it's time for you to wake up. But sometimes they're not using you intentionally. For whatever reason, because they're sexually, that's how God created them. Millions, I'm going to be a bit graphic, of sperms in a man's body. Right? So for that reason, anything can happen. But you have to stand firm and defend the truth that you know and say, dude, you want to marry me? It's marriage or nothing, dude. Let's see your parents. What are they saying? Your family. Can I fit in there? What kind of people are they? How is your mama and how is your dad? If they are dead, what about what are they all about? Show me the people. What is when you it's my brother and in town, and we've seen a lot of girls crying, heartbreaking. Girls, put yourself first. These men are amazing people, but some of them are really horrible people. They don't care about your feeling. They care about their own interest. In fact, majority of them are actually broken people. I've learned that. That's why I'm always messy when I deal with people. I've learned that majority of men are broken. Especially the Zimbabwean people, because there's all this toxicity that's going on now, which actually cause men to really go through a lot. So please, love yourself and put yourself first. And never to consider selling your destiny cheap. Men, no. It's a good man or nothing. The best or nothing. And I mean it. I'm a person who's happy to die single. I don't think I can just give myself for the sake of, no, it must just, as long as I've got a husband. No. You know why? Because I know my husband, how he looks like. And I know that man. Why do I waste my time? Just people on the street. No. Put yourself first, young people. You matter. Monokosha, the young people. You're the prize. You are the prize. You're the prize. And let me tell you, men know that. Because some of them have got sisters that they protect so heavily. You should ask yourself why. Some have got daughters that they love deeply and they protect from any other nonsense. One thing I'll tell you is that Zimbabwe is going to shape up soon. That's why you can see all these are signs that we are heading into a completely different nation. These are signs. And that's why elders are standing up to start teaching, because the society is broken. Young people are selling themselves for a shoe, for a Louis Vuitton handbag, for Gucci handbag, for a t-shirt, for a trip to go to Dubai. I've heard some of them saying that. Where you come back broken, worse than the way that you are when he dumps you. Just to go in to collect toxicity and heartbreak because you're in Dubai. You know what? You can work and still take yourself to Dubai. Right? Love yourself, my sweethearts. You matter. You're too beautiful than what you ever think. You've got such a beautiful destiny that all that you're busy crying for, you will have them. My mom used to tell us that, you know what? We can buy anything that you want. You can buy anything that you choose, whatever you want. You're going to decide what lotion you want to use, what perfume you want to use, the kind of clothes you want to wear, that you buy with your own hard-working money. Pay your own bills. And until you find the right person. But today we have girls who think, oh, you must pay the rent. And majority you pay the rent. I know South African girls, I can tell you from experience, from what I've seen, that breaks my heart. That every time around May, June, men will rent apartments for them. May, June, July, August, September, the man stops paying. The winter is gone. The woman moves from that apartment, that luxury lifestyle, going back to the location. It's sad and heartbreaking. But that's the life that you guys have chosen. Because you don't believe in work and better yourselves. You believe in getting from people things that you don't work for. But here's the thing. A man with money will give you everything that you want, but you pay for it. Because you have expectations. All right? May God give you understanding. May God bless you, and may God bless Zimbabwe. I'm always going to be a phone call away. If you've got any question, I can answer you. But I don't meet people that easily. Okay? For my personal reasons. And you also know why. Right? But if you've got a question, please DM me. I'm happy to answer you. I can give you counsel that you need. I love you. May God bless you all. Sleep tight, and I'll see you tomorrow, please. Love each other. Spread the fire of love. Always spread the fire. Sleep tight. And those who woke up, I want to say have a good one. Until tomorrow. I love you, and bye for now.